Super. So let's get started. Welcome you all to to another exciting session by Digital Vidya. The topic for today's session is three must-haves to convert your website visitors into sales and long-term customers. And for leading the session, we have Lindsay Morando. She's the Director of Marketing at Hello Bar. And in this training, Lindsay will share how to get your website visitors to stay on the site and take actions which you want them to take, whether it is grabbing their email ID or get more sales from your visitors. So over to you, Lindsay. Welcome to the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm really excited to share with you today. And I know it's a lot later there than it is over here in California. So thanks for showing up. So we'll dive in and get started. As Divya mentioned, you're here for three must-haves to convert your website visitors into sales and long-term customers. Um, so a little bit more about myself and why I'm here today. So I've been in marketing and business development for over 15 years. I actually started in email marketing and starting to collect emails and building lists in 2002. I was a promotions person at a bar and restaurant in California, and I would go around the local bar and restaurant with a clipboard and collect email addresses, literally with pen and paper, to try to get people to join our email list and sign up for our raffles. So luckily, email list building has come quite far from that point to today and the technology that we have. But one thing that I think is cool and that I'll share today is that although, the systems back then were quite antiquated with collecting email addresses with pen and paper, the thought process was the same, right? Giving people an incentive to sign up for your email list so that you can communicate with them and share offers and everything you have going on. So in my decade plus of experience, I've written a book, I've launched my own coaching business, which I took from 0 to 6 figures in a little under 8 months. I've spoken at conferences all over the country. I also taught a college course on digital marketing, and I've done everything from advertise yoga pants to advertising a Shark Tank winning guitar accessory company. And most recently, 2 years ago, I joined the Hello Bar team, which I'm really excited about. So a little bit more about Hello Bar and what is. So Hello Bar is a software that allows you to, you can install it on your site and you can use it to collect more email addresses, to take people to certain pages on your site, to make announcements, whatever you want to do. And you do that through the Hello Bar assets that we have, which are top bars, pop-ups in the middle of the screen, sliders, and I'll show you a lot more examples as we move along in this journey together. But currently, Hello Bar has over 30,000 active users. We get 8,000 new signups a month, and we have over 500,000 signups of all time. And a cool thing about Hello Bar is Hello Bar is actually co-founded by Neil Patel, if you've ever heard of him. And Neil actually acquired Hello Bar in 2011. He was looking for a way to collect more leads on his site. So he found Hello Bar and he thought, wow, this is really, really awesome, right? It was something simple. It was a software that he could easily install. And suddenly he had top bars and banners and pop-ups on his site that were helping him to collect more leads and helping him to get people on the site to get the action steps that he wanted to take. We also have our CEO, Mike, who is an expert sales strategist. So when you combined marketing strategy with Neil, sales strategy with Mike, we have a really powerful email collection tool. And that is what Hello Bar is. So we have a big problem that exists today. And, the reason why I'm super excited to teach this training to you is the fact that on average, 98% of visitors will leave your website without taking action, right? So in essence, that means for every 1,000 visitors you get to your website, 980 are going to leave, or 10,000, 9,800 are going to leave, or 100,000, 98,000 are going to leave, all without taking action, meaning that you've spent all this money and effort getting people to your website in the first place, and to see them leave is just devastating, right? We focus so much on getting traffic to our site, whether it be through SEO or social media channels or paid advertising. But what's key is once you get the traffic there is keeping them there so they can take the next step that you want them to take, whether it means you want them to you want to collect their email address or get a sale. But don't worry, that's why you're here today. We're going to go through all of this, and I'm going to share with you how to actually get people to take the next step on your site and how to do it in a way where it's highly effective. Now, I just wanted to talk about the elephant in the room really quickly. So being Hello Bar and being what many people call a pop-up software, meaning you get on a site and something pops up and asks you to take a step, whether it be put in your email address or click something, right? So oftentimes I hear from people that, pop-ups are annoying, and feel free to type in the chat. Have you ever gone to a site and seen a pop-up that's in your face and you've been annoyed by it, or you've tried to click out by it? I'd love to hear from you, because I know that I certainly have. And oftentimes they can be a little bit frustrating. But the reality is that pop-ups can actually be highly effective when used correctly, right? So they actually work really, really well. But the problem is many people are using them incorrectly on their site. So then they're starting to interfere with user experience. And one of the things that people do often is they have a pop-up display immediately, which I always like to say is basically like asking someone to marry you on a first date, right? Imagine being a new visitor to your website and somebody immediately asks you to do something before you even know them, right? That's what's happening when people are going to websites, and that's why pop-ups get such a bad rap, is because people, unfortunately, are not using them in a way where they're being done right. They're either intruding upon user behavior or they're getting annoying. But the reality is pop-ups actually work when done right, and we're going to show you how to create them and use them to collect more leads today and get more sales. So let's take another step back here, right? Why is this all important? Like, why should you care about any of this? Well, I want you to think about the traffic coming to your site, the people that you're sending to your website as guests at an event, okay? So here's an example. My husband does wine sales. So he sells wines to different restaurants around San Diego. And every year he has a really, really big event that he has at his company. And he invites all of his clients to come to this event, right? So when he invites his clients to come to this event, imagine walking into a room and seeing 100 different wineries there pouring wine. Now, if you're a client, you're coming to this event, you're going to be super overwhelmed, right? You don't know where to start, what to do, where to go. Excuse me, much like when people come to your website, right? They're coming to your site, they see all of these different options and they don't know what to do. Now, what's most important and what my husband has to do is he really has to walk his wine buyers around, right? Taking them to the winery that he thinks will be the best fit for them, the ones that he would buy. So what he has to do is he really has to curate the experience. Now, if my husband leaves these people in a room alone with all of these options, they're going to get really nervous and leave, or maybe they're going to get overwhelmed and they're not going to end up buying wine from him. His ultimate goal is to get them to buy wine. So he has to really make sure the experience supports them in doing that. So much like your website visitors, right? They're getting to your site, they don't know what to do next. And if you don't assist them and show them the path of what you want to do, ultimately they're going to get lost or they're going to leave and they're going to become a part of that 98%. So this is why it's so important to set your website up for success and make sure that you are supporting your website visitors and taking the action steps that you want them to take. Okay, so some other fun facts and some other reasons why you should care, right? The money is in the list. Customers who purchase products through email spend 138% more than those that don't receive email offers, right? So I'm sure you've heard oftentimes that the money's in the list, the money's in the list, right? You've got to collect emails. But these are some stats to let you know why it's so important. Also, email is the third most influential source of information for B2B businesses, behind colleague recommendations and industry-specific thought leaders. So basically, behind like getting a recommendation from someone else or word of mouth, email is the most influential source. So it does work, you guys. So what's important is supporting you and actually capturing emails. So today, what you've signed up for is we're going to show you 3 simple steps to help you fix your leaky website and turn your visitors and your website visitors into loyal customers that are going to be ready and excited to buy from you and to be a part of your community. Okay, so these are the 3 steps that we're going to cover today. First, you have to establish your goal. So when you're thinking about your website, we'll talk about how do you actually establish your goal from the very beginning. Second, you have to create an irresistible offer that captures people's interest and collects their email addresses. And then third, you actually have to put that offer on your site and you have to create it and you have to iterate it. Okay, so the first question in the first part to making sure that customers actually stay on your site and you're able to achieve the goal that you want to achieve is you have to define the goal. And in fact, when you log into HelloBar, before you even create your pop-up or your top bar, the first question we ask you is, what do you want to do, right? We ask you what your goal is. Now, don't worry, we're not going to force you to stick to this goal forever. But what's key is really starting to think about, what do you want people to do? Right? So I want you to think about your business and your site, and we'll go through some different goals. But what I want you to start to think about is, what is your overall business goal? Are you an e-commerce shop and you want people to buy products on your store? Are you a coaching or consulting business and you want people to book a session with you? Are you a blogger and you want people to go to your blog? What is it that you want people to do once you hit your site? If you had one ultimate goal that you wanted them to take, what would that be? Now, can you change your goal? Yes, of course. But the most successful websites that I have found actually stick with one goal to start, really heavily focus on that on their site. So if it's to book consultations, they focus on, getting people to their consultation page to fill out a form to book a consultation with them, right? So you really want to think about, what do you want to happen on your site? And we have multiple goals in HelloBar. You could collect emails. You could take people to a certain page. If you want to generate sales, you can certainly do that. You can just make an announcement. Maybe you have something just going on in your business. You can also have people call you. Maybe you have a business where you want to get people on the phone. So that's totally possible. Or maybe you want to just drive people back to your social media page, and that's completely possible too. Okay, so now, one of the reasons why, when I said earlier, the elephant in the room about pop-ups actually being annoying, or people being annoyed with them, is maybe you've hit a site where you get all 3 of these things at once, right? So you look at that and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what action step this person wants me to take because I'm super overwhelmed. Now, what do you think happens when someone sees this, right? They bounce off your site because they don't know what to do next, because you're giving them too many offers at once. So that's why establishing your goal is really, really key, and sticking to only putting one offer in front of people at a time. Now, there's a ton of goals, but I standardly find when you're thinking about the goal for your business, it comes down to a few things, right? Get more clients, get more sales, or both. So let's talk about get more clients. So if your goal for your business is to get more clients, maybe you are a consultant or a coach, or you are a lawyer or have a tax business or whatever it may be, think about, what do your clients need to see from you before they'll actually hire you? You don't just want to wave a sign in front of them on your site that says, hey, hire me, fill out your information to do so, right? You've got to think about, what is the steps that they need to take. So you could start with a free offer, which we'll talk about shortly. Maybe the offer is a portion of your program. Maybe you invite them to a free call because you're a consultant and you want to have them talk to you first. We find this a lot with coaches, people that are in service industry. Getting on the phone with people and then being able to close them on the phone is really highly effective. So you really want to think about what you want to do. So if it's get more clients, perhaps it is to get them on a call. Now, let's say your goal is to get more sales. Of course, this is ultimate goal, right? Whether you're doing coaching and consulting or you're doing e-commerce, ultimately you want to get more sales. But the path here is different if for every industry. So if you're e-commerce, meaning that you sell a product on your site, you may have an easier time just sending people directly to a page to buy with a promo code, right? So I'll share some examples with this shortly. If you're a coach or consultant, like we talked about, and maybe your packages are a little higher price point, you may want to take them down another path to actually have a call with you. But of course, when you're looking at the goal, ultimately, most of you want to get more sales and get more clients. So it's about evaluating who you are as a business and asking yourself, again, what steps does my ideal client need to take before they will actually buy from me, right? So like I said, if it's a coach or consultant that you have as a business, most likely they're going to have to get on the phone with you to hear more about your business before they're going to give you $5,000 or whatever it may be. If it's an e-commerce, maybe it's just simply free shipping or percentage savings that's going to get them over to the edge. So asking yourself, what are the steps that my ideal client needs to take on my site before they're going to take the action step I want them to take? Now, here's a few of my top tips. One, keep it simple. Start with one goal and really focus in on that, and then you can expand from there. If you have too many goals in your website, you're going to end up like that site that had all those pop-ups on there as once, right? Now, it's okay to display your pop-ups and your opt-ins all along your site. That's completely okay. Just don't do it in a way where it's intrusive and overwhelming people. Two, if you have a high price item, collect an email first. So an example is we had a client that sold mattresses, and they got all their community to their page or their website through paid advertising. So when people hit their site, they didn't really know who they were. So it was very hard to sell a mattress that was $1,500, right? So really thinking about, okay, first maybe then let me think about what they would need that would allow them to learn more about us as a mattress company that would ultimately lead to them buying a mattress. Okay. Now, if you have a low ticket item, meaning at the low price point, direct people to a page where your products are and give them a little incentive to take them over to the edge. So maybe it's free shipping or a percentage savings off. Those work really well on e-commerce sites. And then if you're a consultant, collect their information first so you can get them on the phone. I find that this works the best. Getting people on the phone is a lot easier to close them than actually on a site. And one of the coolest parts too is you can do this all very simply with HelloBar, which we'll talk about later. So step one, you got to define your goal for your site, right? So you have your website. What is the ultimate goal you want people to take? What is it that you want people to buy from you in the end? Step two is you've got to create an irresistible offer, right? So you really have to think about, like I said, what is the step that people need to take before they're ultimately going to buy from you? And what's an offer that you can put in front of their face that is going to make them really excited and they're going to be ready to go and be a part of your community. So I want to back up for a second, right? So you have your goal. Now you have to start thinking about like I said, what's going to make users convert on your site. Now, just in case, I want to make sure everyone knows what conversion means. So conversion means if somebody hit this I'm in button, that means they took the step that you wanted them to take. So for this example, they wanted them to put in their first name and their email address. So once they hit the button and they do that, they're considered a conversion. So they've successfully accomplished the goal that you've set out for them to accomplish. So this is an example of a free offer that did ridiculously well a few years back. So these gals actually had a smoothie challenge. It was a 7-day green smoothie challenge, and they decided to really put their eggs in all one basket. So they really focused on Instagram and promoting their business on Instagram, and then sending people back to their site to sign up for this offer. And this offer was like front and center on their homepage on their site, okay? So when they did this, they really focused all their efforts on it. And as a result, they were able to collect 30,000 email addresses just by focusing in on the smoothie challenge alone. And then a little after 2 years from that, they sold over 10,000 products just solely from those people that had joined the challenge. So this is an example of really putting your efforts into one main goal and really looking at, okay, so ultimately if they wanted to sell one of their 30-day health challenge programs, what is something that's going to introduce people to what they're selling and be a good offer for them to actually take the first step. And it was for them a 7-day smoothie challenge. So 3 things that are really important to make a great offer, right? Something that's going to make people super excited on your site and get them to take the action steps that you want to take. First, it has to be relevant to them, right? Like it has to be important. So if you are a company that's selling, let's say, smoothie packets on your site, but your free offer is for resume building, people aren't going to take that, right? And that's an extreme example. Obviously, you wouldn't go that far off. But my point is that you have to make sure that it's relevant for your community. The second thing is you have to make sure your free offer is very targeted, right? So you have to make sure it's targeted towards your ideal client. And when I say ideal client, I want you to think about who is the person that you've built your product for, right? When I owned a business, we created an ideal client profile of one person that we built our entire business off of. Now, this didn't mean other people wouldn't come our way, but it allowed us to know more about this person and be able to craft offers for that person. So I really invite you to start thinking about who your ideal client is and start listing out more about them, their characteristics, their traits, and targeting your offers to them. And most importantly, when you're thinking about your offer and thinking about your ideal client, you want to think about what are their pain points, right? What are the challenges that they're currently facing, and how do you solve those challenges? So for example, the people that were coming to the 7-day smoothie challenge were looking to lose weight and gain more energy, right? So what did they say in the headline? Boost your energy and lose weight. Wow, that sounds awesome. I really want to lose weight and I want more energy. So when I see that, I'm far more likely to sign up. So I want you to think about what your pain points are for your ideal client. So when you map out your ideal client, what are the challenges they're facing? What are keeping them up at night? Meaning that they're thinking, if I don't solve this problem, I'm not going to be in a good space. I always say, what do they Google, right? What do they put into Google? How to do what? How to sleep better at night? How to lose weight and gain more energy, right? That's the kind of stuff that you want to put in your headlines and you want to put into your offer. Okay, so I use my 80s person because one thing I think that's cool about offers is whether it's me collecting email addresses in a bar in 2002, or maybe you going to a market and getting a food sample, or maybe going to a gym and getting a free trial, you see free offers all around you all day long, not just online. And so I think it's really important to think about a free offer as a feeder program, much like the gym. So oftentimes you'll go to a gym and they'll give you a 14-day free trial because their goal is to get you to become a member of the gym. So if they give you the 14-day free trial, then from there, you'll be able to, you'll be able to access the gym, check it out, see what it's all about. And then if you like it because you've already experienced it, then you're way more likely to buy the bigger trial. So they're nothing new. When you're thinking about your free offer on your site, think about the offers that you take around you. So I know that when I go to the grocery store, and somehow I always go when I'm hungry, I see free food samples and I'm like, oh, those are so great. And then I end up buying what they're offering, right? So it's everywhere. It's always around you. And what is most important, it is allows people to experience you, right? It allows people to start to experience you and your business and see what you're all about. So here's another example of an awesome offer that actually worked really, really well. So this gal did this Facebook ad in 2014, and she actually only spent $5 a day on it. And she was able to build an entire 6-figure coaching business in a little under a year off of this ad alone and the leads that came from this ad. So she kept it really simple. She said, I help women create and polish their brand so they can shine online. At the time, there wasn't as many softwares that that help you actually design your stuff. So it felt hard to be a designer, right? So she had a really great niche, and she was able to really draw people in because she had beautiful designs and people wanted someone to do that for them. So just another example of knowing the pain points. The pain point is that her clients weren't designers. So she really spoke to them saying, I can help you polish your brand so you can shine online, because that's what people wanted to do. Okay, so here's another example of a free offer. I wrote a book many years back, and one of the things I did, the first thing was I took half the book and I gave it away as a free offer. So in order to promote the book, I had the first half of the book as a PDF and a download. People would put in their email addresses and they would get half the book. Now I'm sure you're thinking, oh my gosh, you gave away half the book. But the thing is if the book was good enough and they liked it, they'd want to know what happened in the second half, right? It would be like only seeing half a movie and not knowing how it ends. So it's okay to give away a good amount in your free offer, because people are going to they're going to see that you're giving value first, which they're going to respect, and they're going to get to take a glimpse into your brand. And then also they'll get to experience you and they'll keep going because they want to have more of it. So one thing that I find interesting is that I saw someone do it a little differently. So their free offer was only the first chapter of their book. And I have to be honest, when I downloaded that, I thought, this doesn't give me enough insight into the book to want to buy it. Like, I didn't have enough interest in chapter 1 to keep going. So sometimes, and the book ended up being a really good book, but I thought as a free offer, this isn't very enticing. So really giving people something enticing. So I want to go into some examples so that you can see some live examples of different industries, and hopefully one of these industries resonate with you. And keep in mind, we'll answer questions in the end, so I want you guys to know I'm going rapid fire right now, but I will make sure to answer all of your questions. So years ago, Neil and Mike, our co-founders, they launched this test on nutrition secrets. It was a website that they launched to show people that they could actually get traffic to a website that was brand spanking new. Because a lot of people said to them, oh, it's easy for you to get traffic to your site because you've been around for a long time. So they decided to go ahead and start a new site. So it's called Nutrition Secrets. Now, we took some time to see why people are coming to the website, what they were looking for, and what challenges they were facing. So they realized that the people that were coming to the site wanted to get healthy, and they were feeling like they wanted to lose weight, right? So from there, they crafted a quiz because the pain point was that these people wanted to learn how to lose weight. So they crafted a quiz that supported them in finding out more details about them and actually giving them a plan to help them to lose weight, right? So solving their problem. So with this quiz, they actually went from collecting 10 email addresses to 10 email addresses per day to 50 email addresses per day. So what they did was they took one of our Hello Bar page takeovers, which I'll show you shortly. They put it up on the site, and they put a link to the quiz. And so people clicked and then they took the quiz, and that increased email conversions from 10 emails a day to 50. Now, before they did it on one of our page takeovers, which is in Hello Bar, they actually, what they did before is they had it just on the site, and that's when they were just collecting 10 email addresses. It was like on the sidebar on the site, not as visible and not as present. So it just shows you how kind of taking the same offer and making it into something that's a little more interactive and putting it in a space where people see it, they are far more likely to take the action step you wanted them to take. So that's an example of more like online digital marketing, and ultimately they were trying to sell some of their bigger programs. So giving the quiz and the plan for people to do it on their own gave them a start, and then they introduced them to the option of having a coach and supporting them in their business or in their weight loss journey alongside. So that's an example of more of something online. So another example is an e-commerce site. So let's say you have an e-commerce site. So it's a website and you want people to buy, but one thing you notice is that people are not in a hurry to buy, right? So this is an example of a pair of shoes. They're called Teaks. They're very expensive. They're $175 for a pair of shoes. And I can't tell you how many times I go on their site and thinking about buying it, but I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do it, because they specialize in comfortable flats for walking. So if I was Teeks, what would I do, right? So, the problem for me is, hey, I want comfortable shoes. I get blisters walking in uncomfortable shoes. And also for, the e-commerce site, you want people to buy, but they're not so much in a hurry. So what I would do is I would create an offer that says, hey, I don't want you to get blisters anymore on your walk. Our shoes are 100% customer satisfied. Get free shipping today, right? Or maybe you would do get 20% off your entire order, right? Something that would convince them to actually have a little bit more urgency and buy. And when you're thinking about that, when you're on an e-commerce site, some tips: free shipping works really well. Percentage savings works really well as well. So those are just some things to think about. But for e-commerce, I would always try to offer something that's going to throw them over the edge, meaning it just gives them that extra incentive to actually purchase, and start paying attention to what makes you purchase on websites, right? Maybe it's free shipping. Maybe it's the fact that you got like $20 off your order as a promo code. Those are the kind of things that are going to make other people as well. Okay, so now let's say that you have a coaching or consulting business, right? So your problem is you need clients for your business. But the solution is you have to show them how you work, right? You can't just sell someone a $10,000 coaching package off your site. And if you can, I would love to hear how you're doing it, because that's pretty amazing, right? So you've got to think about, what you're going to do to throw people over the edge. So if I had a coaching business, and when I did have a coaching business, I actually had packages that started at around $4,500. So what I did was I thought about what is it that my ideal clients are really seeking when they come to my site, right? So I knew my ultimate goal was to sell them into my coaching program, but I started to think about, like, what is the problem that people are coming to us for? And what I found that most people came to us for is they wanted us to coach them because they weren't getting paying clients in the door and they were struggling financially. So what did I do? I made a pop-up that said, ready to bring paying clients in the door? Let us give you the step-by-step plan. And then when they clicked that button that says show me how, I took them to a consulting page where they filled out a quick form. It got submitted to me, and then we hopped on the phone together. So when you're thinking about something like that, again, what are they really seeking? How can you present that to them in a way where it's going to entice them and excite them and get them to take the next action step that you want to take? Also, you have to think about the like, know, trust factor. So the like, know, trust factor is people are far more likely to buy from people that they like, know, or trust, right? If you don't like someone, you're most likely not going to buy from them. Maybe you've encountered that annoying salesperson that, you walk in the door and they're bombarding you when you get in. But you're probably less likely to buy from that person than the person that is a little bit more low key. So really, the like, know, trust factor comes into play when you're doing coaching and consulting, because they have to get to know you, and that's why it's so important to get them on the phone. Now, this was another thing that we did. So let's say that, you actually are a coach or consultant, but first you really just, your ultimate goal is to collect more email addresses on your site. Maybe you filled your coaching business and you really just want to build your community, or maybe you want to do more digital products, you want to build your community. So this is an example when we were at the point where we were really just trying to build our email list from our website and not book coaching clients. So again, what was the problem that people came to us for? They always said that they had trouble with marketing. And they always thought their trouble with marketing was social media. So we said, are you ready to stop wasting time and money wondering what to post on social media? We thought so. Watch our free webinar, 30 Instagram posts in 30 minutes, right? And this worked really, really well. It converted really well because everyone thought that their problem was social media. Then from there, we got them to watch the training. And then in the email series, we warmed them up, introduced them to who we were, and then ultimately still invited them to a call with us, and to fill out the form to have a call with us, right? So it's kind of a different way of doing things. One way is just directing people towards, your consultation page on your site. The other way is collecting their information, having them get to know you through an email series, and then inviting them from there. So the other thing to think about when you're thinking about these offers, so after you've decided on your goal, decided on what's going to entice your ideal client, you have to think about headlines, right? And a catchy title is really, really key. And what I suggest is actually scrolling in the grocery store. What are the headlines that actually catch your attention? Those are the ones that I find work really well on pop-ups or on your site as well. So some top tips here when you're thinking about your free offer. I want to give you some of our top tips that have worked really well. So if you ask a yes/no question, meaning you say, are you having trouble with social media? And there's a button that says yes or no. And then they click yes, great. To watch our training of 30 Instagram posts in 30 days, or they clicked no, and then you say, are you sure you're not having trouble getting more people through social media? That's a yes/no question. So that actually generates around 20% to 30% more leads. Journeys and courses convert better than ebooks. So I always suggest if you have an online course, maybe taking a small portion of that online course and using that as your free offer. You should definitely offer your lead magnet throughout your website, and I'll show you how to do that with HelloBar shortly. And then a good lead magnet will generate 5 emails for every 100 unique visitors. On neilpatel.com, we roughly generate about 7.4 emails for every 100 unique visitors. And then a good conversion rate, meaning that somebody, again, takes the action step you want them to take, is 2 to 3%. So these are just some tips. So from there, you've got your goal, right? You've got what you ultimately want people to do on your website. You've got the offer that you're going to give them. Now from there, you actually have to design and test, right? Studies show that people only remember 10% of what they hear, 20% of what they read, but 80% of what they see and do. So it's really, really important that you actually show some important things. So I show my puppy dog here and my baby niece because I find that dogs and babies actually convert really well. Not to say that you should just use random pictures, but just think about, when you show your free offer, you really want to think about what is it that is going to demonstrate this free offer. So if it's a course, maybe showing an image of a course. If it's a consultation with you, showing a picture of you so that they get to know you. So really thinking about what's actually going to have them be able to see you. And so some other tips, again, shots of human beings work really well. So when you're designing your offer, you really want to think about what imagery is going to work well. And the right images can express a desired outcome that somebody may want. So let's say maybe you're appealing to busy moms with kids. Maybe you show, and you're giving them simple recipes they can use in the kitchen. Maybe you're showing a happy kid eating his dinner because his mom made him a really great meal, right? And it's like, oh, I really want that for my family. So starting to think about things like that. And so when once you've gotten your offer, you've gotten your goal, that's when you can really step into HelloBar, and it makes it really simple for you. So when you log into HelloBar, you actually just have a few quick steps. We ask you what your goal is. You grab one of our templates that are already pre-designed, and then you can put in your offer, and then you can have it live in your site in minutes. So it's really, really, really simple. So here's some examples of HelloBar and what actually HelloBar looks like. So once you have that offer, it's really time to actually, put it into place so you can make it live on your site. So as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to HelloBar, it is a pop-up software. So literally, no matter what platform you're using, most platforms we integrate with. So you just have to install a little code on your site, and then you're good to go. And you log in HelloBar, and you can create anything. So you could create bars. You see this bar right here. This is an example of a HelloBar, right? So it's on the top of your site. It sits up there. This is an example of a yes/no question. Do you want more traffic? Yes or no, right? So within HelloBar, you would just log in, choose your goal, pop in your headline, and you can get this live in minutes. This is something that worked really, really well for us. And when I said earlier, yes/no questions convert 20 to 30% higher, this is an example of one of them. So here's some more examples of what you can create within Hello Bar. And this is one of our secret weapons that works really, really well, and not that many people are using. So a lot of people know us for the top bar on the website, but not many people know about an exit intent. So maybe you've gone to a website where you've been on the site and you go to hit the URL bar, and then something pops up on the site that says, "Don't go, before you go, click here." Well, that's what we like to call a page takeover upon exit, or an exit intent. And this actually converts ridiculously well for us. This helps us to collect an additional 900 signups a month through Hello Bar. So our main goal in Hello Bar for on our website, when you look at like the path that I've taken you down today, is to get more signups, right? To get more people to sign up for our software. So how we do that is we go ahead and we use things like this exit intent. So we use Hello Bar, right? So when someone goes to leave our site, this will pop up and it'll say, "This is an exit intent. 98% of visitors leave your site without taking action. Stop visitors from leaving with an exit intent like that. Create one in Hello Bar and start collecting more emails and more sales today." Then someone clicks this button and it takes them to our sign up page. So that is an example of a quick and easy way to get someone to take the action step you want to take. Now, maybe you're an e-commerce site. So here's another example of what you'll see in Hello Bar. And so we already have these templates designed for you so that it's really simple and easy to start taking the steps you want to take. So maybe it's, like I said earlier, doing the $20 off your first order, put your name and email address in to get this, okay? Or it could be just something simple, right? You know, you put a headline here, get someone to put their email address in, and then they click the button and go. So here's just an example of all of the things and templates. And the thing here within Hello Bar that's so awesome is we already have the templates designed for you. So we make it really, really simple so that when you get into Hello Bar, you can just have everything done for you, pop your headline in, choose your goal, and be able to be live with the software in just minutes. Another example of some free offers and stuff that you can do on your site. So lastly, once you've designed something within Hello Bar, right, you've got your pop-up or your top bar ready, you have to iterate it and make it better. And one of the cool functions in Hello Bar, so you can design it, you can decide when it shows up. So you could say, "I only want this to show up upon exit," or "I only want this to show up after 30 seconds or 60 seconds. Then from there, you can actually test things, right? So you can A/B test, meaning you would create a variation of this, and that way you could have two top bars testing at the same time to see which one converts better. So that's when you can start to get into testing headlines and seeing what works best. And the greatest part about this is we make it super simple in Hello Bar. You literally just click the knob here, you create a variation, change your text, and it's up and live in minutes. So this is just another example of fun things that you can do. So our approach when it comes to testing your offers and everything on your site is really less or more. So the first step we said less is more. The first step we say is first take a gander at your Google Analytics, look at your highest traffic pages. If you don't have Google Analytics set up, that is okay. You can just start by having your Hello Bar on every single page. Second, craft the offer. So you would craft the offer like we showed above, right? And then third, you take your message, you place it on your pop-up with something like Hello Bar, and we would only suggest putting like 1 to 2 things on a page. So maybe you have a top bar and then you have a page takeover. And then from there, you test it. So you see what works. And we only run a very few tests at a time. So we've got to see what works and what doesn't work. So here's an expert tip. Many reasons why people get annoyed with pop-ups is because they have them display immediately. We suggest waiting. So if you tend to notice that people are leaving your site, then you could use the pop-up upon exit. If you tend to notice that people are staying on your website for longer, and you'd find this out through Google Analytics, and if you don't know this, don't worry. You can just start with a simple delay in time. But if you find that people are staying on your site a little bit longer, maybe you could make the pop-up show up 30 seconds later or 60 seconds later. That way someone has a little time to explore your site without being approached by an offer. So here's an example, right? Let's say you go to a clothing store and you're trying to get a whole new outfit. You walk in the store and somebody comes in your face within 3 seconds of being in the store asking you to buy from them. How would you feel, right? You probably would be annoyed. That's much like somebody getting your site and you putting a pop-up in front of their face immediately and asking for the offer right away. And that's why it's so important and why we have in HelloBar a timing feature so that you can have your offer display not immediately, right? So let's say you actually go into a store, you're wandering around, you're looking around. After 30 or 60 seconds, somebody actually comes and approaches you, gives you something educational, something of value, and then you are far more likely to maybe buy something from that person because they haven't intruded upon your space. So much like the store that I used to work for called Lululemon, that's their approach. When you walk in the store, they just greet you and that's it. Then if you're looking at a clothing item, after 30 seconds, they'll approach you, give you an educational fact about the clothing item and walk away. So they don't actually even try to sell you on the product. And let's say this company is doing pretty well. In 2017, their sales were 2.4 billion. So I think their approach to sales and marketing is definitely working well. So how do you know when it's working? So once you've popped a test in HelloBar, if you've reached, we give you the conversion rates in there so you don't have to think about it. So 1 to 2% conversion rate is really good. 2 to 3% is awesome. So when HelloBar says you're at 2 to 3%, that's when you know your pop-up's doing really well. So I want you to meet our client, Travis. We worked with him for quite some time. And when he came to us, he had been on Shark Tank. It's a show where you basically can try to get the judges to buy your product. And it's a really popular show, and he won. So he had a lot of traffic coming to his site. It was a lot of people that already knew him because he had been on TV. But what he didn't have is people converting on his site. So when we first started with Travis, he's an e-commerce site, so we said we'll do an offer. But what we did is we used one of our pop-ups, our page takeover upon exit. We had people put in their email address and to get the offer. Now, at first it was converting around 2%, which is good, but we were only generating around $1,500 worth of revenue from it, which wasn't where we wanted to be. So we made one simple change. We basically used the same HelloBar pop-up. We just didn't make people put in their email addresses to get the order. So when you're in HelloBar and you choose your goal, we just chose take someone to another page or get more sales. So the people clicked this button, they went straight to the product that we wanted to sell. We gave them the discount right on the pop-up, and that increased conversion by 0.8%, which increased sales to almost 10K. So you can see huge difference from $1,500 this pop-up went to make an additional 6 to 10K per month. So simple steps like that make a huge difference, but we only knew that because we tested it and went from there. So what's key when you're thinking about your site and everything is putting yourself in your user's shoes, right? What's most important is that you think about what do they want, what do they need, and what are they going to bite on? Meaning, what is it that they're going to get excited about and that they're going to actually purchase from you? So again, redefining what we talked about today. When it comes to your website and making sure that people are going to take the action step that you want them to take, first step is you've got to define your goal, okay? First and foremost, you've got to define what you want them to do. Second, you've got to create an irresistible offer. And third, you've got to design and test, right? You've got to get it live on your site, which HelloBar can certainly help you to do. And then you've got to test it and see what works and what doesn't work. Now, the thing is I know oftentimes when you buy a software, you enter into a software, it can be super complicated, right? I don't know about you, but there's so many softwares out there now, I feel super overwhelming. And one of the things when we built HelloBar, we wanted to keep it simple. And that's what I feel really excited about our product is that it's very simple. We've really built a powerful marketing tool that helps you collect more leads and get more sales on your site without feeling the overwhelm. And of course, everyone always asks me what sets us apart. And I think what sets us apart here at HelloBar is our team. We're all digital marketers and we're super passionate digital marketers. And what we care about most is making you successful with our software, because we recognize the software is just a software, but having the team behind us and making you successful with that is far more powerful. And as I mentioned, when we built HelloBar, we wanted to keep it simpler than any other softwares. Now, one of the things that we don't like as a team is charging people a bunch of money for a software for them to only discover that it's not right for them. We just don't feel good about that. We don't want to be that annoying retail store. We want to empower our community to be successful and have all the educational possible, and then decide if the product's the perfect fit for them. So what I wanted to do on this webinar is I wanted you to be able to actually take action today. So I wanted you to be able to create your offer and get it live within HelloBar without having to feel the stress of figuring it out on your own. In fact, when we used to do pop-ups years ago, we actually used to have to hire a designer and developer to do it for us, and it cost us so much money. That's when Neil, our co-founder, discovered HelloBar and found out, oh, I can do this with this simple software for far cheaper. So that being said, we want to offer you 30 days free of our HelloBar growth plan, so that you guys can try it out, start testing your offers on your site, see if you like it, and if you like it, amazing. I hope you carry on with the software. And if you don't, not a problem at all. My only request is I'd love to get your feedback. I'd love to hear from you why it didn't work, or what changes you'd like to see within the software. And then I also want to give you some bonuses as well. So when you sign up for the HelloBar free trial, you're also going to get fill in the blank headlines and email templates, which I'm super excited about. They're proven headlines and email templates that have already worked for us. So we recognize that one barrier is you may not know what to write for your headline. So we wanted to make that really simple for you. So you'll get, when you sign up, you'll go ahead and get some headline templates and email templates. And that way you can have everything set and ready for you. We also have a really other awesome bonus. It's our accelerated email marketing course. So when you sign up for the free 30-day trial, you'll also get a full email marketing course that's going to go even further into what we went into today. It's really going to help you in how to go more in depth into creating your free offer, how to write more attention-grabbing headlines, and how to track everything so you can see results. And then as a part of signing up for our free offer as well, you get 90 days of our dedicated marketing specialists. So our goal at HelloBar is to make you super successful. So as a part of our growth plan, we have our dedicated marketing specialist team. And this team of people is there to help you write headlines for you, see why your tests aren't working, give you ideas on free offers and lead magnets, help you with all your marketing questions. So when you sign up for your trial, you actually get access to our dedicated marketing specialist team, which is really, really awesome. So then after 30 days, if you don't like it, no problem, you can cancel. If you do like it, then you would be on our growth plan, which is a $29 a month plan. So this should give you enough time to test drive the plan and check it out and make sure that you like it. And again, if you don't think it's a fit, you can cancel at any time. As long as you cancel before the 30 days, you're not charged. We also remind you with emails letting you know that the charge is coming. So very simple, and we'll make sure to put the link in the chat so that you guys can sign up for your free offer. So I will throw it back for questions. I know we went super rapid fire, so I want to make sure to answer all the questions that you may have today.
Super. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Do you want me to share the access URL of the HelloBar tool?
Yes, I'm going to give you, can I put this in the chat? Is that the best way?
Absolutely, sure.
Perfect. So that's for the free trial for everyone. You just click that link and you'll be able to have the free trial from there.
Superb. So while everyone is actually putting in their questions and getting the free trial account, I launch out a poll for all of you if you're interested in a digital marketing course. Just feel free to just fill in the form with a yes or a no, and the get access URL is available in the chat panel if you are not able to see. If you have joined into the session a little late, you will get the recording as well as presentation of the session by Tuesday over your email. So don't worry about it. And we have got a few questions. The very first question is, in a conglomerate business, how do you get your customers to go through your entire portfolio since it's a little overwhelming for them?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So I would take a step back there. So if you want to get them to go through your entire portfolio, you need to give them a piece of something first that's going to get them excited. So I would say either take a portion of your portfolio that you think they'd be really interested in seeing and give that away. Or I would take a step back and say, why are people coming to you? So what is the problem that they're trying to solve by coming to you, and putting together something that would get them excited and help to solve that problem. Then in the email series, that's when you share your actual portfolio. So let's say, for example, you're a designer and you have all these awesome designs and you want to share with them that portfolio. So maybe people are coming to you because they don't know how to design their website and they're super overwhelmed by it. Maybe you could give away a free offer of, a website design guide that helps them design their site from A to Z. Ultimately, they're still going to need you because it's really complicated to design a website, right? So I would take a step back and say, like, what is it before they actually can see your portfolio that you would want them to see? Or maybe it's if you're trying to get them on a call to book you, then I would not send them the portfolio to the portfolio at first. I'd send them to the free call, do a 45-minute call. Like we had a tax planner that did a 45-minute tax savings call, right? So collect their information, then send the portfolio after that. That's what I would suggest.
Super. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Moving to next question. So does Hello Bar helps in a website and helping in conversions with website, or can we also use it for interacting with our customers on social media channels?
Yeah, great question. So Hello Bar is meant for your website, but you can also use it to send people back to social media. So if you the top bar that I showed you, or really any of them, you could actually integrate your social media into that and say like, hey, head back over to our social media page to see our free trainings that we do every Thursday, or whatever's happening on your social media page. So 100% you can integrate it with your social media channel and then use it on your site to get people back to your social media channel. And especially if you're using social media to drive people to your website, you need something like this to help people to convert once they get to your site. So that's super important.
Super. Thank you so much. Next question is by Nirav. He wants to know how can a freelancer actually manage multiple projects on a same tool and in the most cost effective manner?
Yeah, so my question would be, does he have like multiple clients, I'm assuming? And if you do have multiple clients, then I would say, so for Hello Bar, we have like bulk things where you could put multiple clients under one site. And that way you log into your account, you see all your client sites, and you can actually just manage them all from there. If that's the question, if I'm hearing him correctly.
Yeah, so we can actually add multiple. This is a question by a few other people as well. So we can actually add multiple websites to one account and manage them differently.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And so what you do, like I have like 50 sites under my account. So I can just I go to the top bar within Hello Bar and I just literally, I'll see all the sites that I manage drop down and I can choose between all of them.
Super. Next question is by Stephen. So he wants to ask, what kind of reports does Hello Bar provide, and what kind of technology is dependent upon?
Yeah, great question. I'm so glad you asked. So in terms of reporting, we provide how many conversions you're getting, what your conversion rate is. If you're collecting emails, we provide how many emails you're collecting, and then we, provide which assets, bars, top bars, pop-ups are converting the best, like which ones are performing the best. So we provide all of that. And then in terms of like softwares and how it works. So I'll use WordPress, for example. We integrate with WordPress. So in WordPress, you would just go in the back end, you would download the Hello Bar plugin, you'd activate it. Then you can log into your Hello Bar account, manage everything from there. If you're using something like Squarespace, you would just take our code, which you'll see in your Hello Bar account, pop it in Squarespace. It takes like 2 or 3 minutes, and then once it's activated on your site, you're good to go. You can do everything with Hello Bar. Wix, we have a really simple integration with. We integrate with Shopify. Most major website platforms we integrate with, and all you need to do is place the Hello Bar script code in that site, and it's good to go. And also, I should note, if you have any trouble with install, our team will help you with installation, so you don't have to worry about that.
Super. So just to add to that question, there's another question which says, does the reporting is absolute real time, or is there any kind of delay in it?
It's as close to real time as we can get. Every time I go and I test something, I see my conversion there like within a second. So yeah, it's pretty quick. And also I should note, one cool thing is that we are GDPR compliant. So for anyone worried about that, all of our pop-ups have the option to be GDPR compliant. And then yeah, everything's really real time. So if you collect an email address, it's going to be in your account right after it's collected.
Great. So how can Pallavi is actually asking, how can a person use HelloBar while creating a blog and while optimizing a blog?
That's a great question. So there's multiple ways you can use it with a blog. So one of the ways I would suggest is, taking your top blog posts that people like the most, that commented on the most, and actually making that into like a PDF or some sort of free opt-in or lead magnet, and then giving that away on your top blog post. So what I would say is I would look at your analytics and I would see what are the blog posts that people go to the most. And I would start with testing Hello Bar on there. And what I would look at is what are people doing on those blog posts. So if they're reading the blog post for 5 minutes, then I would put a top bar because it's like not very intrusive, right? It's very easy. It's very easy to it's just very subtle. So that way you're not intruding upon people reading the blog. So I would do something like that. If you find that people are leaving your blog, so let's say, you have these 3 articles, they get a lot of people there, but they're leaving really quickly, they're bouncing off the site, then I would use more like the page takeover upon exit that I showed you guys earlier. So that's kind of the things that I would look at. So like, I just pulling this back up. So if they're leaving the blog, I would use something like this. And to get them to stay, I would give them some sort of offer, depending on what you want to do. So if you want to collect their email addresses, then I would just give them, your free offer here. That's really exciting. Or maybe if you have, a page on your website and on your blog that sells something, then I would do something like that. But I would say if you find that people are staying on your blog for a while, I would use our top bar function because it's just not as intrusive, and it's there, it scrolls with them, but it allows them to still read the blog post. And then in the future, we're working on a function called content upgrades, which will allow you to collect email addresses within the blog post. So if you've ever seen like a little box like this within a blog post, and it says download this free checklist or something like that, we're working on that functionality. It should be launched within the next 3 to 4 months. So that will be there as well for those that are bloggers.
Great. I think we are done with the questions. So thank you so much, Lindsay, for taking the time out. And the presentation was really wonderful. And
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us in the session. We loved having you here and being such a great audience and asking such wonderful questions. Thank you so much. And as the last thing, I am just launching out a poll for you to actually put in your feedback regarding how did you like the session. So just put in your feedback, and I think we'll be great to wind up the session. Thank you so much. Bye bye.